Hey everybody, it's day 9 of water. We're talking water, water. So much awesomeness. When we talk about water, I'm here by the lake yet again today. It's beautiful today. The sun is out. We're catching some rays. And today, we're going to talk about water that exists in so many places that we may not think about we're actually drinking water, but of course we call it something else. So if we really want to raise our vibration, if we really want to have high energy, if we want to be, enthusiastic and feel abundant and remove the feelings of tiredness and overwhelm and stress, it really boils down to the ability of our body to generate new cells. So when we can create new cells, then we can replenish all the ones that are dying off, and we can replace the sick ones with healthy ones and so on. So at the very basic level, at the cellular level, we need to be continually charged, stay into an alkaline or high voltage state. And one of the ways we can do that is to eliminate things from our life that remove the electrons from our system. So we're looking for ways to gain electrons or gain voltage or gain, and stay into that slightly alkaline state. Obviously there's a balance to that, but we're trying to find ways to stay in a high energy state. And so sometimes that means looking at elements that are detrimental and removing them. So today's video may not be a popular message, but it's my experience, and it's also backed up by a whole lot of research. So what I want to share are ways that water shows up in our life, and we intake that water into our life, and that water is causing harm to our energy level, to our ability to stay in a high voltage state. So there's beverages that we drink, beverages that contain water that we may not think of, but it's water. So let's just take, for instance, all soft drinks, pop, soda, and other carbonated beverages. So many people, if they're sort of hooked on a carbonated beverage like, let's say, Coca-Cola, they might switch to Diet Coke, and that's a little bit better, but it contains aspartame, or other soft drinks contain other artificial sweeteners. And even if it didn't have that, it would still have basically water tainted with what we talked about a few days ago, fluoride and chlorine and other chemicals. So that water that's in that soft drink will actually steal our electrons. So it's an artificial energy boost from either caffeine or other substances that are in these different drinks. And so we want to eliminate those. And many people switch to something called, what we call it, sparkling water or carbonated water. And that can also be detrimental, especially if someone is taking that carbonated water at the same time they're eating a meal. So many times we will sit down for a meal and want to pour a nice carbonated beverage. Well, what happens is it reduces the acid in our stomach, so it makes it more difficult to digest and absorb the nutrients. So carbonated water, could be enjoyed as a beverage by itself. However, it's still taking away our electrons. So if we think about it, we talked about tap water. Most bottled water is simply, partially filtered water, so it still has that acidic nature, still is going to take electrons. So things that we want to get rid of and replace with the pure spring water are carbonated beverages and things like sparkling water, soft drinks, etc. Now let's take this a little step further, because we also have caffeinated beverages like coffee. So coffee, if it's caffeinated, is going to also remove electrons from our system, and some of the black teas that also are caffeinated. So when you're looking to raise your energy level, getting rid of caffeine actually will benefit us. So many people drink caffeine as a way to just try to get enough energy to make it through the day. So sometimes a cup or two of coffee, and there's a lot of research on coffee that promotes the benefits of coffee. And many people have read a lot of that research and they love drinking their coffee. There's other research that says it actually will reduce the electrons, and it is taking away your life force, right? Your life force energy that can give you way more than coffee can give you. So if you set up your life to really boost your life force energy, your prana, your chi, there's never gonna be a need for a coffee boost. Now that might take a little while to get there, but that's the goal, is to have so much energy that the coffee is not needed, the caffeine is not needed. Now an occasional enjoying, the frothy blended coffee is certainly going to help and going to be enjoyable and going to be fun. We don't want to try to eliminate everything, because there's so many joys in life that we want to still enjoy them. But if we think about, the real joy comes when we have the high energy that's sustainable without the detrimental effects. Now let's get to the biggest one of all, the biggest offender across the entire globe, in every city, in every state. This is the one that's going to be the most unpopular. It's based on my experience and also a lot of research, and that is our very, very, very addictive Alku. Who is Alku? The god of spirits that invades our mind and body. It is called alcohol. Now, alcohol is one of those things that everybody seems to love. And I noticed in the last 20 years a flurry of craft breweries, springing up everywhere. Cocktails becoming all the rage. Wine, people drink wine and love it. So, this is the most unpopular part of the video, because it's something that people find they love it, and they love it so much. It's the last thing they would ever consider eliminating. And only when someone becomes an alcoholic and the effects are so damaging that they eventually give it up. And then they go to treatments and they have to, abstain entirely. And that's the place where people tend to go to get well, is if a substance can create so much damage to our liver and other organs. And we know, if we think about all the people who suffer from alcoholism, so then you'd have to step back and say, well, what's it really doing to my mind and my body? And so for me personally, I drank alcohol most of my entire adult life. I loved drinking beer, mostly dark beers. And I noticed that after I started becoming healthier and healthier and looking to raise my vibration, that I was getting headaches from drinking wine. So I switched from red wine to white wine, and that seemed a little bit better. So I drank white wine for about a year, and then I was still drinking mostly beer, actually. But then I noticed that I would drink maybe 2 beers, go home, and try to go to sleep, and my head would feel like it's about to explode. It would be like a throbbing in my head and a massive headache. And I thought, was that related to the beer? That can't be. And I kept denying and denying and denying. And then I noticed that sometimes if I drank alcohol, I would also get sick afterward, especially if I combined it with a nice big dessert. But the combination of sugar and alcohol can be really deadly. But I denied it, and I said, no, it's not the alcohol, it's something else, it's something else, it's something else. And I kept drinking it and drinking it and drinking it. And one day, I decided that was enough. My body told me. So my mind said I want to keep drinking because I love it, and it's socially acceptable, and all my friends drink alcohol, and all the people I hang out with drink alcohol, and I will be the oddball out if I don't drink. So it was a psychological aspect as well. But when you think about alcohol, it's got water in it. Tainted water, and then you add the effects of the alcohol, and it's absolutely damaging to our system. Not necessarily small amounts, right? People are moderate drinkers. They are healthy and fine, and there's evidence of 100-year-olds, that have their shot of whiskey every night and so on. So, there's many cases where some people's bodies maybe don't get affected as much as others. But I'm talking about my own personal experience and evidence from many others that when they eliminate the alcohol, they feel better. And it's just something to consider. So I've been now alcohol free for about 2 years for the most part. And I know that I feel way better. So there we go. We did the unpopular part of this message about water, because water is in all these beverages. And so sometimes it gets combined with other ingredients and causes even more harm. So something to consider, and it may not be popular, but again, it's all about what do you want and how much energy do you want in your system so that you can sustain all the activities that you want to do. So we covered the gamut. This is probably the video that won't get a lot of views, won't get shared. And for those of you watching to the end, you may not be too happy with the message. But I just wanted to share what works for me, and it doesn't necessarily work for everybody else. So if we can focus on the living water, the purest possible water, the water free from all contaminants and all chemicals, and the water that we can use to sustain our life. So thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy your beverages, and I hope you find beverages that work for you.